Having the body off this chassis is really going to help me have the opportunity to mount a few things that I wasn't able to get to with the body on, like the fuel system, some of the brake lines, some things that I couldn't get a drill in to do, as well as I'm not sure if we're going to put the body back on before we take the engine out, but there are engine mounts to weld, a whole bunch of stuff like that. The front of the chassis needs to be fixed up. So while that body's getting done, we're going to be able to get at this and get a whole bunch more done on this. So join me, and thank you for coming back to Prairie Wings. By the way, I'm Merle. We'll just take a look real quick. Fuel system laid out, not tightened, not finished at all, but there's a clamp that goes on the firewall. I've already got that all set up for there. And then we have this fuel line going on the outside of the frame rail. Reason why I went on the outside is because of heat on the inside back here as well. We have our handbrake control right here, so master cylinder. So it was just easy enough to mark it, put it on the outside, and there's a lot of room on top of the frame back here. At least I'm pretty sure there. No, I checked. There was, but it's still loose. I may have to reroute some of this, but it's at least roughed in. And at the back here, we have the two fuel pumps. We have a module to control these both independently, which is very nice on this car because we are going to be turning a lot of horsepower. And I have a clamp that's going to go on here. None of this is tight, but it's turning out good. Carry on to the next step. I had to weld up the front end enough that I can get it onto the rotisserie and it's stable. Once I get all of the engine and everything stripped out of here, this is going to be on the rotisserie and we'll fix all the welds and problems with this. A little update. I have the wiring harness strung onto the engine and it is all sitting up on the cardboard here. What's going on with that is we are going to be changing this, how the harness is, where it is. We're putting the ECU inside the car as well as the main fuse block. But earlier you probably saw me with a cardboard tube measuring angles, and what I just did now was pulled off the yoke. So I measured the rotating force. I called the Strange and they said that it's approximately 200 foot-pounds. They want to see the same rotating force when this is torqued up and put on. So it's on loose right now. Nothing's tight there, but it'll keep the dirt out of the diff. The angles for the differential compared to the end of the transmission, the way the chassis is laid out, is putting it on a pretty big angle. We're just outside 4 degrees, which is beyond what we want to do with the U-joint. So we're putting CV joints on this. So I had to pull this off to make sure that we had the 28 spline there, so that we can actually get a flat plate for this, so that we can use CV joints on the back of the transmission as well as on the differential, so we don't have to worry about drive shaft angles. Anyway, that's where we're at. This harness has various applications. So what we've done is taken the harness that used to go this way, used to go to the passenger side over there, and the bulkhead in the car is going to be right here. So I have to take this harness and sort it out lengthways and take out the accessories that are not used, because not all of this harness is needed on this application. So I am going to depin the stuff, pull out that I don't need, so that this rat nest doesn't look so bad. Now, the advantage of what we're doing here, even though this doesn't look like an advantage, is when we get the car on and the bulkhead in, we can take and sort these wires and deal with all the length problems that we're going to have with the bulkhead fittings. So those bulkhead fittings are on order. I just need to get to a point where I can put the car back on and get the body figured out. So the wiring on the engine basically is done. We're going to be adding to this harness normal car, I guess, like other options for air conditioning and stuff will get added into this harness that it doesn't have it. So even though this looks like, I don't know, it looks like some kind of wire factory threw up, I'm not real worried about it. So we'll finish welding out the fuel tank, get it lined, finish welding out the exhaust, and get it prepped up. Some of it's getting ceramic coated. I got to put oxygen sensors in the one header still, and I'm just gonna get that all done off camera. I'm working on this second version of the sway bar link. What I'm doing is I'm actually moving this bolt down, and what that's going to do is it's going to give me more clearance from the sway bar to the frame. So it's not going to affect anything else going down. So what I did is I took the bolt that was up over here, dropped it down here, but I am ending with limited clearance on this side, so I'll be able to use a half nut here. Now, the suspension, we're going to want to be able to make sure that everything stays tight and so on. So I am going to thread this. Now, the one thing that I have found and I wanted to highlight is it's kind of become part of my life around here. I am used to using cutting oils on lots of stuff, but I actually have been avoiding it because it stinks so bad when you're doing it. And if you're doing a whole bunch of holes, I don't know whether a drill bit replacement is worth more than my lungs, but that's how I've been treating it. Anyways, so I haven't been using a lot of lube because I'm done with smelling the smell. So I ended up finding this, and this is what's been becoming part of the life around here. And this is a water-based lube, and it really stays where you put it. So I'm liking it because normally I'm spraying this and it is all over the place and I'm breathing it in, and this is way nicer. This bit is a little dull. So very little residue coming off of that stuff. Now, the part that I really like, I don't know if anyone here has used a power tap, but I love them because it makes short work of tapping holes. Now, these taps are made to go in the drill. I don't even remember what brand this one is. I suppose I could look on it. Yeah, I don't have my glasses here, but what I really like about it is this stays on the tap really well. So power tapping, these suck. You break taps if the lube isn't good, if things aren't clamped in the vise really well. And so this seems to go through like butter, and I don't know, I'm really enjoying it. So a little puff of, I don't know whether vapor, steam, whatever. This is water-based stuff, but the heat created from that, you know, gave you a little woof, but literally it has no smell. I'm pretty sure, I don't know for a fact whether this is safe to breathe, but it definitely isn't bugging me. And so you can get this from KMS Tools up here in Canada. I am sure that on their website, for people around other parts of the world, you can look up where to buy it, but this is stuff you can get locally. All right. So put this link bar in the back here, and now this is running straight up and down, and it's given us lots of clearance in here for suspension travel. Had to put a tweak in that bar, clean it up. It still needs to be brushed up so it matches kind of the front. And anyway, we got lots of clearance. So the game plan is now drill a hole, make sure it's good, and I'll duplicate this on the other side. All right, I don't know if they have built a rear sway bar in one of these cars. This bar was mounted on there already, but you'd think they would, but these bushings had to mess with a whole bunch. They weren't even close to fitting in, and these bars were straight, so took and formed these. We're still gonna have to clean these up to make them look good, cut them off. And this link up here now runs nice and straight up and down, and these are gonna be sturdy enough. Had to machine the spacer in here. But overall, this is actually looking like a really good piece now. I think it's going to work good because we kept everything as straight as possible. Now I checked clearance in here, and the shock's going to fit in. If this wouldn't have had this quite severe bend and moved the bolt where it is, the shock would not have fit in. So we have clearance now, good to go. Time to move on. Ta-da! The chassis is roughly put back together enough that we can actually carry on. So I am going to be needing the next steps to put the body onto the chassis. And we're about ready to do that. And guess what? I have some exciting news. The body is back and it's just over there, but that'll be for another video. So hope you enjoyed seeing me get the chassis ready for the body. And if you don't mind, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.